Hello everyone. We were studying the chapter life processes, and in life processes, today we are going to study the topic respiration. What is respiration? Actually, respiration is the process of oxidation or breaking down of organic compound. So here the organic compound is breakdown in the presence of oxygen. Basically, it is the glucose, and what happens? The energy is released, which is used by the cell, to do any work. Whatever work we are doing, from moving our finger, moving, thinking, anything we are doing, energy is required, and that energy we get from this respiration process. Now, what happens here? Actually, it's a biochemical process. Here, chemical energy from organic compounds is breakdown, and you can say energy is released, which is used by the cells. So, what happens? What is the organic compound? It is basically glucose. So, glucose in the presence of oxygen. Yeah, one molecule of glucose and 6 molecules of oxygen. They, you can say, react, and what is formed? Carbon dioxide, 6 molecules of carbon dioxide, 6 molecules of water, and 38 ATP. What is this ATP? It is the form of energy. Whatever energy we are using, whatever the work we are doing, we use the energy in the form of ATP. ATP is adenosine triphosphate. So every living being needs energy, and this energy comes from the process of respiration. Okay, I hope it is clear to you. Now, mechanism of respiration we are going to study. What is mechanism of respiration? Actually, respiration is a chemical and physical process. It involves both physical as well as chemical process. Physical process is, you can say, intake of oxygen. The way we take intake and exhale carbon dioxide. It's a physical process, right? So, physical process intake of oxygen, that is inhalation. Breathing we got, right? Inhalation. In breathing, inhalation and exhalation are two parts. Exhalation is the last one. Elimination of CO2. So this is the physical process. Now there is a biochemical process, or you can say chemical process, which is stepwise oxidation, which we are going to study here. And second is release of ATP. And when oxidation is there, or oxidation takes place, the ATP is released in the form of energy. Got it? So we will study how the biochemical process take place. Actually, the whole biochemical process take place in the 3 steps. The first step is glycolysis. What is glycolysis? Here, actually, glycolysis is the first step of respiration. It takes place in cytoplasm. Here, it takes place in cytoplasm. What happens? The 6, you can say, 6 carbon compound, that is glucose. Here, 6 carbon compound, as you can say, break down into 3 carbon compound, that is pyruvic acid or pyruvate. And this process takes place in cytoplasm of the cell. What this process is? This process is glycolysis. And here 2 molecules of pyruvate or pyruvic acids are formed, and it takes place in cytoplasm. Cytoplasm of the cell. Now 2 molecules of pyruvic acid, you can say, are formed. These are 3 carbon compound. In this, you can say 2 ATP are used and 4 ATP molecules are formed. Now after this the process is divided on the condition whether oxygen is present, whether there is lack of oxygen, or whether in absence of oxygen. So first condition we are taking in presence of oxygen. Now in presence of oxygen, what happens? The complete oxidation of glucose takes place, and this takes place in mitochondria, and this process is known as Krebs cycle. Krebs cycle is also known as citric acid cycle. Yeah, two citric acid cycles take place simultaneously from one oxidation of one mole of glucose. As I told you, two pyruvate are formed, so one pyruvate and another pyruvate. Both Krebs cycles goes on simultaneously. So Krebs cycle take place in mitochondria. Mitochondria, and here complete oxidation. Here complete oxidation of glucose take place, and carbon dioxide, 6 mole of carbon dioxide, 6 mole of water, and energy 38 ATP are produced. Got it? Now, next condition is in lack of oxygen. What happens in lack of oxygen? Actually, here this take place in muscles. When we do any heavy exercise and we need more amount of energy, So for that, the glucose which is stored in our body is oxidized. But due to lack of oxygen, Krebs cycle does not take place. So here, what happens? The glucose is oxidized and it is converted into lactic acid, and just 2 mole of ATP, 2 ATP are produced, and this process is known as anaerobic respiration. Anaerobic, and this is aerobic respiration. So this takes place in the muscles. In our muscles, what happens? Lactic acid accumulates, due to which we feel cramped. Here, due to any heavy exercise, we suddenly do any heavy exercise, and what happens? Next day we feel cramps in our body. So it is all due to lactic acid accumulation in the muscles. Why? In absence of oxygen, glucose is not converted into whole carbon dioxide and water. So it is converted into lactic acid, and that lactic acid is accumulated in our body, which causes the cramps. Got it? Now, next is in totally absence of oxygen. What happens in totally absence of oxygen? This takes place in yeast. You can say it is converted into ethanol. Ethanol is alcohol, ethyl alcohol. So here it is also incomplete oxidation of glucose, and here glucose is, you can say, converted into 2 carbon compounds, that is ethyl alcohol, here ethanol you can say, and carbon dioxide and energy. Here also 2 ATP are released. The energy produced in anaerobic respiration is very less in comparison to aerobic respiration, because here we have lack of oxygen and oxygen demand is not fulfilled, so that's why less amount of energy is produced in this process. I hope this process is clear to you. And the last is terminal oxidation. What happens in terminal oxidation? It is, you can say, the electron carrier molecule, that is NAD, nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide, and FAD, fermium adenine dinucleotide. Here these transfer hydrogen ion, energized hydrogen ion to transport chain, and these release ATP. It releases ATP, and that hydrogen ion are converted into water. Got it? So this is terminal oxidation. In this way, respiration takes place. We will study further in the next class. Thank you.